Recording this has been a process and a half. The last few weeks, the last month has been quite a jumbled mess. I had to put things on hold because of major downpours in the area flooding my basement and office, and that took a considerable amount of time to clean up. I had to take some time off to help the guys over from the charity room raise money for the International Rescue Committee with our License to Chill event. By the way, thank you to everyone who stopped by and watched Elliot and I look like fools in Star Wars Connect and watch me kill an innocent bystander with a cardboard box.
I don't know what she's doing.
Oh! Then last week I had to take my cat Celine to get fixed, and I've been keeping a close eye on her ever since. Oh, I know, baby, the cone is ridiculous, but just bear with it for a couple more days. Moreover, Jesus, I ran into several emulation issues while recording this game. I mentioned in the Gen 4 video that I've been using an emulator to record the DS games, simply so that I can fast forward through level grinding whenever I felt the need to do so. Didn't have problems during Gen 4 or in Black and White 1, but in this game, take my advice, if you're ever gonna emulate Gen 5, leave that godforsaken C-Gear feature off. Look, I'd rather you just get a capture card and record the game off actual hardware, but if you can't, I get it, just turn the C-Gear off. It's practically pointless in emulation anyway, but leaving it on can cause the system clock to get screwy, and it can cause your game to freeze when you attempt to save the game. Twice have I lost about 2 to 3 hours of progression, and folks, there is nothing more demoralizing than losing an assload of progression in an RPG because you failed to save the game every waking moment, or if the game suddenly decides to freeze up. 2 times did I have to send my save file to my friend Experiment T, the one I mentioned in the Gen 4 video, so that, he can do his hacker thing and get my save file back to where it was. Dude, if you haven't been watching this, I know I bled my heart out to you in DMs behind the scenes, but thank you again so much for the assist. You saved me a assload of time, and I just want to talk about Black and White 2. And let's just go. It's the last video for this Pokemon marathon, and hey, talk about ending on a high note. Yeah, I think I've made it clear in this channel, or at least in other videos, that Generation 5 Part 2 is one of the best, if not the best generation for me. Because of time constraints, I couldn't fully sink my teeth into Black and White 1 when they came out, so I made myself a promise that when the next iteration of the game came out, I would buy that version and try again. However, what we got in 2012 wasn't the standard enhanced re-release, but a full-out sequel, Black and White 2. And I had reservations heading into this because as it was being sold as a sequel to an RPG on top of that, I felt I was going to be lost following the story. Sure, it's Pokemon and I'm sure it wouldn't be too complicated, but still, I wasn't entirely comfortable with the idea. But man, was I worried for nothing. Yeah, let's start there. Now, I don't know if the writers got cold feet or something, but whatever direction they were heading in with Black and White 1 was just brushed under the rug here. Both games share Toshinobu Matsumiya and Suguru Nakatsuki as writers, but Katsunori Suginaka and Yukiko Huzumi from Black and White 1 were replaced with Hiroto Ito and Hikaru Yoshikawa for Black and White 2. Longtime Pokemon developer Junichi Masuda was also no longer in the director's chair for this one, being replaced by Takao Uno, though Masuda was still on board as a producer. Whether it was the change in the writing team or directors, or maybe it was both, Black and White 2 drops nearly all the discussion and subtext concerning truths and ideals and what Pokemon really mean to people beyond battles. Instead, we're back to basics. We're in charge of an up-and-coming Pokemon trainer who wants to be the very best like no one ever was, and we do this by collecting Pokemon for Pokedex completion and nabbing all those gym badges across the Unova region to win the championship over at the Pokemon League. We got a mom who lives in the kitchen. We're back to having one rival for this adventure, and that's Hugh here, more on him later. And Team Plasma is no longer about zealots wanting to liberate Pokemon from their owners to help Pokemon live better lives. They're now just straight up villainous douchebags with new pirate gear, being led by the returning Ghetsis, who wants to use the power of this Pokemon Kyurem to turn Unova into an icebox with his giant freezing gun.
Winter is coming at last.
It's disappointing to say the least. Now, when I originally played Part 2 back in 2012, this didn't bother me a whole lot because I didn't have the context. What was here was a run-of-the-mill Pokemon adventure, it's straight to the point, if a little one note. However, now that I have Part 1 fully completed, I can say this is a major step backwards. In Part 1, getting the gym badges was an integral part of the story because you needed to do so in order to meet with Ed at the Pokemon League to thwart his plans. At a certain part in this game, Team Plasma begins their assault by attacking one city, covering it entirely in ice. But before we can raid the battle station and put an end to their agenda, your rival Hugh insists that you get the final gym badge before you head inside, and I'm like, why? What's the correlation? Team Plasma's beginning their attack, can't the Pokemon League crap wait? The writing just isn't as graceful as before, and while I'm on the topic of the last Pokemon Gym Badge, never have I wanted to punch a gym leader in the face more than with Marlin here. The laid-back surfer personality, you've seen it before surely, but in the context of the story, this guy's an asshole. You get his gym badge and yeah, he helps build a bridge to hop on the plasma ship, but then he tries to spin this bullshit philosophy that, I don't have anything against Team Plasma because they ain't bothering me, and who am I to judge them just because everyone tells me to? And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? They just attacked a city in cold blood and you're trying to play the centrist here, disregarding facts? Fuck you, dude. Ugh. There's also this scientist named Colres, and I didn't see the need for this dude at all. You meet him early on, he wants to study Pokemon to better understand him, he helps you out a couple of times, then it's suddenly revealed that he's second in command of Team Plasma because of science. Then you beat him up and then he's good again. He really serves no purpose in the game. Inoffensive, but no more than experience points. The other gym leaders still have a good dose of personality, several returning to the scene from part 1, but they have considerably less impact on the narrative as previously, so they're mostly glorified trainer battles as before. If you have a save file from part 1, you can view some extra cutscenes to get a better idea of how characters have grown or changed in the last 2 years. It's a nice little bonus for those who have followed along so far, but it's nothing integral to the story, it's flavor text. Roxy's probably my favorite of the new bunch. I just love how she immediately jumps into battle once you reach her inside the gym. It's like, don't interrupt her performance or you're gonna get rocked. We get no follow-up on the protagonist from last time, not even a battle on top of a mountain. They're mentioned a couple of times by several characters, but it's kind of odd that they're just gone from the story, leaving their poor mother to wallow in $350 lemonade. But it's good to see Sharon become the first gym leader you encounter. I think that's a proper evolution of his character based on what was written in part 1. And Bianca also returns as Professor Juniper's assistant, giving you your first Pokemon and tagging along with you at certain points to guide you in the proper direction. It's good to see these two continue to have purpose in Unova, but as for the protagonists, it's just us and our cinnamon bun hair if you go female, or a pineapple top if you go male. The only friend we have is this boy Hugh, and he's pretty generic. He's the hot-blooded shonen character. He wants to get stronger to stop Team Plasma because they stole his sister's purloin some time ago, but he doesn't know when to turn off, and as a result he can be quite the asshole to everyone around him. He's quick to anger, he doesn't know when to stay still, so he's like Barry with a more irritating personality, and maybe it's because he's still just a youngin', but his dialogue can really suck at times. Just when you're about to take on some Team Plasma goons, he's all like, just so you know, I'm about to unleash my rage, and I'm like, oh please, spoken like a dickhead who watches too much anime. The dynamic between you and Hugh is nowhere close to the one Hilda or Hilbert had with Sharon and Bianca. It's alright because Hugh is genuinely a nice dude and does help out at points during the adventure, but it's just not as fulfilling, and that's the whole story in a nutshell really, it's just not as fulfilling. We get some follow-ups to events that happen in part 1, but what's ultimately explored is either one-dimensional, like Hugh's motivation or the returning Team Plasma, or underdeveloped, like how some former Team Plasma members want to redeem themselves for their actions from previously, or the off-screen adventures of N, who shows up for a bit with his trusted dragon companion, but has way less significance than before. You'd think he'd play a bigger role with Getsus returning with Team Plasma. In fact, yeah, why wasn't N the hero of the story? Or why didn't the defected members of Plasma have more screen time? It could have been like Pokemon Coliseum done right. Former members of an organization that's split apart because of conflicting ideologies, and it's up to them to stop the evil ambitions of an organization gone awry. The motivation's there, the characters are set in place, it writes itself. But no use harping on what could have been. It's fine for Pokemon. Again, I had no problem playing this game back in 2012, but I can now see that it's disappointing considering what it follows up on. Unova has seen a few changes since our last adventures, namely the additional towns and routes added in the southwest part of the region, acting as your new starting point. You can't even visit the starting towns and routes of part 1 until post-game, and the trainers there have beefed up considerably. It's a good thing our adventures didn't start there, otherwise the first trainer would flatten us with a level 62 Ammonite. Besides that though, most of Unova remains the same. Still tons of bridges, areas bustling with city life, and the sports arenas still draw little to no crowds. You start in Aspertia town instead of Nuvema town like before, and some areas are no longer accessible, with others changing their layouts considerably. In a way, it's kind of like the inverse of part 1 because that game had you explore most of the left side of Unova during the adventure, and in part 2 it's mainly the right side. Along with Pokemon musicals making their charming return, there's also this new Pokestar Studios, north of the new Burbank City, where you can create movies of all different genres and really sell the sizzle by following the script given to you, or by deviating from it, all while trying to keep the audience engaged, which as a YouTube personality, fills me with a sort of existential dread. It's one of my favorite minigames in the series, not so much of the odd scenarios you end up in, but it shows that your protagonist has a fun side to them, and that previous gym leaders like Sabrina from Gen 1 also like to have some fun as well. You never think she'd take a liking to acting until this game. That's Pokemon world building, I love that sort of thing. Although it's bullshit that I don't see a single dollar from these box office takes, I gotta see if there's a Pokemon union in these parts. But no doubt the largest change to the region involves the availability of Pokemon. Unova's regional dex in Part 1 was restricted to the Pokemon exclusive to that region, stifling for those that hope to catch and play with their favorites, but I also like to look at it as an opportunity for those to discover new Pokemon they would otherwise not consider. In Part 2, Unova's regional dex has been ramped up to a staggering 300 with Pokemon ranging from the first generation all the way to this current gen. Now, it is very possible that even with all these Pokemon available in this region alone, your favorites might still be excluded. Hell, as someone whose favorite Pokemon is Raichu, there's shockingly no Pikachu available in this game without having the trait from Gen 4, but even so, oh my god, the sheer variety in Pokemon available is awe-inspiring. Never before have I struggled so much wondering who I should add to my team. Which starter do I choose? Well, I went with Oshawott last time thanks to you guys, and I don't want to go with Fire again, so I guess I can choose Snivy for now, but ooh, is that a Riolu? Sure, I'd love to give Lucario a shot this time. Oh, a Growlithe! I can get an Arcanine for my team. My favorite fire type in this series. Holy shit, are those wild Eevees? Hell yes, I'm capturing 2 of those so that I can have both an Espeon and Vaporeon on my team without the need for breeding. But that's just the beginning. I haven't even covered the stuff you can find in the cave systems or underwater.
Ooh, thank God. I thought I was never getting through that firewall.
God damn it, that's what I forgot.
Forgot, dude, you just straight up blanked. We were getting ready to have our Pokemon battle and everything, and then you just left me hanging.
I wanted to play Batman.
Okay, alright. And after that?
Well, I made those Sonic videos that pretty much defined the channel. And there was that one time I got kidnapped by that demonic doll.
John, it's been close to 7 years since that day. When are you finally gonna review?
Don't you say it. Don't you dare say it.
That copy of Dragon Quest V that I sent you.
Huh? Dragon Quest V?
Oh, for God's sakes. You lost it, didn't you?
I don't recall having one in the first place. What the hell are you talking about? Ow. What?
You said that if I played Resident Evil 4, that you'd play the copy of Dragon Quest V that I sent you.
Uh-huh. And it took you how long to play that game after I gave it to you?
That isn't the point.
That's exactly my point!
Guys, you're so wonderfully pathetic.
Yeah, you're one to talk, motherfucker.
Look, Ted, John's played how many RPGs in how many months? Let's cut him a little slack here. He's probably burnt out.
Ugh, nobody cares about Colosseum or Gale of Darkness. They don't count. Besides, I just want people to appreciate a game that doesn't get enough love in the West.
I'm not doing Dragon Quest before Final Fantasy. Are you high?
Dude, you owe me for skipping out on that Pokemon battle.
Can I just, I don't know, do Kirby?
No, you can't. Wait, Kirby, are you serious?
Sure.
You fell into my trap, pathetic fool. I knew that you would say anything to get me out of your hair after doing a whole marathon of Pokemon. You're not playing another RPG after that nonsense. And now, you get to play Kirby. My evil laugh sucks.
You slimy ass cheek.
That's a unique insult.
Can I get back to my Pokemon video now?
Well, you still looking for Pokemon on your team?
Yeah, sure. What do you got?
I do recommend the Sandile line. I know your old ass is probably going to go with the original mon again, but gotta get some Gen 5 representation in there somehow.
Ooh, add Vanilla to your team.
What, the ice cream cone?
Hey man, don't knock the ice cream cones, alright? You're gonna thank me later when you're fighting all those dragon types at the end of the game.
Yeah, if they live that long, their speed is pathetic, and ice types have infamously piss-poor defensive coverage.
It's not about winning with the best, John. It's about winning with the favorites. Specifically my favorites. Looking forward to that next marathon, John. Have yourself a fantastic night and take care. Bye-bye.
Oh, I got your Kirby marathon ready to go. Just you... Ryan?
Sorry, I wasn't sure if I should leave or something. I'll see you later, John.
Oh, God, where the hell was I? Let me take some of the things. With so much Pokemon available, you're bound to make changes to your team after every town and route you journey through. It is one of the best things about this part of the generation. As long as you got a knack for checking out the tall grass every once in a while, you'll have no trouble at all getting those gym badges with the amount of coverage you can get. And if you need to level up fast, you got those Audinos that are once again there to give you those big experience gains. Part 1 already sought to make the adventure as streamlined as possible with a more linear progression of gameplay and smaller emphasis on HMs. Part 2 is pretty much the same, but also throws in a few bonuses. You get a bicycle in no time, making travel insanely quick. There are an immeasurable number of ways to get healing items for your team for little to no cost. You have unlimited TM usage again to give your Pokemon a balanced moveset, and this right here is probably the best of them. If you use a repel to prevent random encounters, the game will ask you if you want to use another one immediately once once the repel runs out, saving yourself so much time that I could probably recommend the entire game on this alone. I'm somewhat serious. The post-game for Part 2 is absurd. There's so many things to do. A lot of it is battle focus. There are several special trainers you can only face after finishing the main story, like Alder, the champion from the last game. Beat him up and you can head to the White Forest for more battles and experience if you're playing on White 2, or Black City if you're playing on Black 2. There's the battle subway from Part 1 making its return. You have a large selection of legendaries to nab, including the Swords of Justice, who are now in the middle of your pathway during the game. You can't miss them. There's Latias or Latios version depending. There's the 3 Pixies from Sinnoh that are thankfully no longer roaming. There's the Weather Things again, Cresselia, the Reggies. Christ, there's so much to do in this game. But the absolute best add-on for Part 2 has to be the new Pokemon World Tournament south of Driftvale City. You can compete in various tournaments with different rule sets like single battles, double battles, triple battles, rotation battles. You mix it up if you want. Challenging trainers and gym leaders from all over Unova, but later on, you can even start challenging gym leaders and champions from Kanto all the way to Sinnoh. Good God, I had the biggest rush of nostalgia when I went face to face with Misty, Bugsy, and even Whitney, complete with remixes from their respective games. This is the best. I spent so much time in this area. I'd say it's the selling point of Generation 5 Part 2. Like the Battle Frontier, you can earn battle points from winning and spend those on items that can help you build a competitive team for some serious multiplayer battles. This game makes it so easy for the competitive player to keep things in check. Everything from stat checkers, the potential of your Pokemon, items to increase certain values of your Pokemon stats, are all located in one general area. And now you can also use your X-Transceiver, your phone in other words, to keep tabs on your friends. Sharon can tell you about Pokemon abilities and whatnot, Juniper can give you hints on how certain Pokemon evolve, your mom is your mom, and Bianca can share how friendly your Pokemon is towards you to help with those friendly evolutions. Part 2 of Gen 5 was the first time in the series I seriously considered getting on the competitive side because of how this game made it so accessible. Ugh, so many hours. I still have my original save file right here from 2012. I could have sworn I put over 200 hours into it, but this says only over 100. But considering that you can finish the game in about 25 hours, that means I spent over 3/4 of this file in post-game. I did so much. I traded tons of Pokemon with my friend Matt, as well as battled friends overseas. We helped each other unlock certain dungeons since you needed to have both versions of the game to unlock different Pokemon and dungeon layouts. Even different difficulties, which I found a little odd, like you have to complete White 2 to unlock easy mode after you already finished normal mode. That's strange. But you also need to beat Black 2 to unlock the hard mode, then you can trade those with friends. Part 2 is weird. With the Seeker available at our disposal, we could build up shops at Join Avenue, a shopping mall that got larger the more you complete the game, and the more friends you registered in your friends list to increase productivity and make a lot of money in items. It was almost like a precursor to the 3DS's Street Pass feature. I recall using the Wi-Fi to get those mystery gift Pokemon that were only available during certain times. I've long since migrated most of my competitive team to Pokemon X and Y thanks to the Pokemon Bank app, the one that allows you to take all your DS Pokemon and put them on the 3DS games. But one look at my box and wow, I'm getting a lot of memories flooding in here. I don't know why there's a lone Vulpix in this box here. And let me see, there's the handful of Pikachus I got from Gen 4 when I was hunting for a light ball item. It was like a 5% chance that a random Pikachu could have this. Oh god, all the baby dinos I made trying to get one with great values in the right nature. Whew, considering how long it takes one to get the Hydreigon, I was in this for the long run. I realize in retrospect, much like earlier generations, there's not much point in recommending Black and White 2, especially in this case since several features are no longer available with the Wi-Fi service being shut down. Because of that, there's part of the game that now feels incomplete. If you ask me, it's still a great addition to the lineup as far as the single player stuff goes, and again, you have so much on your plate after beating the Elite Four. Part 2, even today, even with the Wi-Fi gone, has a lot of bang for its buck, and you can still do a lot of things together with a friend and local wireless connection. Just think of it like playing Gen 1 or Gen 2 without the need for a cable link, with a much fuller region, a robust battle system, and musical numbers. All of my best memories from Black and White 2 stem from when this game was the most current gen, when, I can use every feature available at the time. I will always cherish those memories. I will always be thankful for the good times I had. This, along with Platinum and Heart Gold and Soul Silver, made me a big Pokemon fan again, and I've been following all the new releases since. Except Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, as well as Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I can't play them all, I got shit to do. However, future gens are still up and about with Wi-Fi trading and Wi-Fi battles and do more to streamline the gameplay on top of what Gen 5 already did with the formula. So really, I would just tell you to stick with those games if you're all about collecting and battling Pokemon with friends near and far or wherever you are. But like I said in the Part 1 video, when it comes to peak 2D Pokemon games before X and Y made the jump to 3D models, Generation 5 is the best of the bunch, hands down. Snappy battles, wonderfully designed regions, great sprite work, phenomenal music, a good story to follow in Part 1, and loads of things to do in Part 2. Together they make one of the finest additions to the franchise that sure, don't have the same impact now as they did then, but it's still something I think everyone should experience if they want to visit Pokemon's yesteryears. And with that, I am once again spent with Pokemon. I'm serious. After this, I'm gonna need some serious time off from the franchise. I might pick up Gen 8 when it comes out later this year, but after these last few months, I'm not in any rush to get it day one. Well, I might anyway if all my friends decide to pick it up. Peer pressure is a bitch. I'll try to have you guys not wait too long for the Pokemon Puzzle League review and the review of that Mystery Dungeon game. I'm just going to get to those when I have some major downtime. So all I ask is that you guys just be just a little more patient. And if these last few months are anything to go by, you have more than enough to spare and you're wonderful for it. But before I get to my next major project, there are a number of games that I've been meaning to look at for the last couple of months, and I cannot hold out any longer. I'm going to get to those next time. Here's hoping that this last marathon has reinvigorated your love for Pokemon, or maybe it's helped you discover some new Pokemon adventures that you've been sitting on, you had no idea they were there, or maybe if you weren't a fan at all, maybe finally considering, hey, whatever works. I hope you guys enjoyed this latest romp through my journey through Pokemon. I'm getting the hell out of here. I am tired of RPGs for the time being. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for being so patient. Have yourselves a fantastic night, and take care. Actually, before I head out, I will have a channel update for you guys ready to go in the next couple of days concerning where the channel will be going in the next few months, the Twitch updates and all that sort of thing, as well as convention appearances and what have you. So stay tuned for that. Make sure your notifications are on, however that works. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know sometimes.